Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Happy Sunday. Woo woo.
Yeah, happy Sunday.
My favorite day of the week. I love Sundays. I think it's because I get to talk to all you guys
Yeah, it's fun talking to them.
and we get to go to church.
Yep.
I love going to church.
And today was a good one.
It really was. I mean, some of them are just more touching than others, and today was really good. Even and I always listen to Meadowbrook back in Ocala because when I lived there, that's where I love to go. So I still listen to them. And I think the more you can take in throughout the week, the better in this crazy world. So, and they had an awesome service today as well.
Did they ever?
So it was like two really good services, the one we got to go to here in Tennessee and the one we got to listen to while we were taking an awesome hike.
Yep.
So
we hiked about 3.8 miles today between church and going live. So
that was fun.
Yeah, we wanted an extra walk, so we decided to squeeze it in on our Sunday afternoon.
I've been trying to squeeze in more working out and cardio. It's hard to find a good balance. And I think the biggest thing I've learned throughout all these years is not to be too hard on yourself, to try the best you can, to get in what you can. But when you fall short, do not beat yourself up over it. So that's, I think, the best thing you can do, whether it was eating the wrong things or missing some workout or whatever's going on in your life. Don't beat yourself up because you're never going to be perfect. You can't get it all right.
Yeah.
Just try again tomorrow to do the best you can.
That's correct.
So that's what I've learned. A little bit of wisdom that I wish I would have had in my younger years.
So we sneaked into the chat a little bit before we went live to see, kind of what's going on, see what the dialogue is. And we just wanted to do a shout out to the other countries that are watching. We saw Canada and Australia and France are in the chat.
So
yes. Wanted to say hi to those guys.
Hello, everybody. And hello to everybody in the U.S. I saw some Texas and Michigan and all over the place. And it's so awesome that we're all spread out and then can come together. And you got to love our moderators, right, everybody?
Yeah, moderators are live.
Since they are on it. And I love that we can all come together without having drama and ridiculousness and just have positive vibes. This world is way too crazy and negative. Why not add the love you can, where you can, and be positive?
I decided to represent. Can't see it all there. I'm kind of liking. I'm really liking Tennessee. I'm kind of liking the football team a little bit too, because they were interviewing the running back for Tennessee. I don't remember his name right offhand, but he had an excellent game, and not just that, but the interview. What did he do first thing? I don't think you heard it, but
I of course did not.
He praised God that he gave credit to God.
I love that.
Gave credit to his teammates, and just. It was very positive vibe. It wasn't all about him.
Whenever somebody's up to give a speech, whether it be an athlete or a celebrity or
be humble.
Anybody on any platform, when they just thank God right off, it makes me a little teary-eyed. I was just like, yes, that's exactly who you thank first and foremost. Every day, all day, I thank God. So when I see them doing that and using their platforms and celebrity to appreciate God, it warms my heart completely. I love that.
Yeah, so it was neat. So the service, though, the Meadowbrook service, we wanted to put the link, but you can watch it live, but you can't watch it after it's over. It becomes private. But around Tuesday or Wednesday, they release it?
About Tuesday, they have it up, and it's a really good service.
So if you click on it, I believe she's going to put it in the chat. If she hasn't already, she'll do it at the end. And it may not work right away. It may say private, but hold on to that link and it'll work come Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, I would just go on Meadowbrook's site.
Or site, go on. Yes.
I wasn't going to.
Okay. If you just Google search Meadowbrook Church, Ocala, Florida, that's where it is. Pastor Tim has I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think you guys will find it also hilarious. He's got a lot of comedy in his presentation this week.
He's very relatable.
Yes, and he's talking about election. So he's talking about the biblical view of the election process and how it relates to the Bible. So it's very inspiring, and he tells you how to vote, not who to vote for, but how you should consider your vote, that it is important to vote.
Yes, and you should always look at the issues, not the personalities, to vote your values and to value your vote.
Yeah.
It is a privilege. It is a responsibility.
Yeah.
So, and in many other countries, they don't get to do
They don't
that.
get to have a say.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't like to be too political with different sides, and I don't want to hear who anybody's voting for.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important to get out there and vote.
Yes.
And vote your values and look at things with a biblical view. In the end, no matter who gets voted in as president, we have to remember that God is in control of everything.
Yes.
So don't worry, don't get stressed or any of those things.
And very little of any policies that a president tries to impose, very few of them impact you directly. They're usually on a very large scale, and by the time it trickles down to your state, your county, your district, it doesn't really touch you. So just wanted to say, we voted last week.
We did early vote because we didn't know what would come our way on Tuesday, and that's one of the things they have available to you. If you can take advantage ahead of time, because you never know what that day might throw at you.
Yeah,
you don't want to miss your chance to vote.
And we had heard that the early voting in our district was not getting really high numbers yet. And so they were leading us to believe that it was going to be crazy on Tuesday. So
it might be.
We didn't want to get in a 2 or 3 hour line.
We did wait in about a half an hour line to vote early, and it was well worth it. Lovely people at the voting place here in Tennessee. So we enjoyed meeting new people as always.
They handed out Halloween candy.
Trick or treat.
They were super nice.
So it's a blessing. And I think the biggest thing everybody needs to remember, again, as I said, with whoever gets voted in as president, we have a responsibility as the citizens here, and everything starts with us. So we need to show the love and quit being divided. We have the opportunity to change things at a smaller level, which has a domino effect to go to a higher level. So stop being divided and stop creating all this hatred and terrible things, and just start showing love and step back and look at what's really important. All these issues with the back and forth have always been there all throughout time.
And he points out some of that. He goes all the way back to Jefferson. And he's talking about a former presidential candidate, and he's talking about a VP. And you think he's talking about the current ticket, but he's actually talking about one that's like
way back in the 1800s.
But you'll see where he does the parody and compares them, that there's really not much difference in politics.
History
100 years ago
tends to repeat itself. That's why I don't understand why people are trying to erase it. With anything in life, your personal failures included, there's lessons to be learned. Failures happen. Look at them and see what you can learn from them and move on. Don't beat yourself up about it.
That's it. You learn by.
Don't repeat it, and share your knowledge with other people. There's even people your age, older, younger, people at varying levels in life. And your knowledge and what you're going through could help somebody at any age in the same thing that they're going through. And that's why we're better together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a very hectic world, and there's so many stressors out there. It's hard when you have relationships, whether it be husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, daughter, any family, even just friends. All these other stressors impact your life. So you need to find ways to squash those outside things. Otherwise, it damages all your relationships, because we all have so much baggage from different things that have happened to us. But when you bring your baggage into each of these relationships, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I liked while waiting in line? There were a couple of people that were they couldn't stand for a long time. Like 30 minutes would have been too long for them. So they let them sit there up front at the entrance. And all this line was inside. It was inside an annex, I think the county annex. So that makes me think it's a secondary building. But it was inside there, and they had about 5 different booths, and they were electric. You push the button,
it's electric.
And it registers onto a tape, and then you get to review it to make sure you picked all the right ones you wanted to pick. And then if you are happy with those selections, then you hit the green finish button and it's done. So we liked that it wasn't little ovals that you had to fill.
Yeah, and they had chairs that the people who couldn't stand could sit in throughout the line. So it made it very comfortable for everybody.
And they let them sit up there, and I don't know if they jumped the line or not, but they accommodated them and nobody complained about it. It was wonderful. I thought it was beautiful to see that.
I just want to say hello to a few people. I see Jessica in the chat. Hello. I see What the Hales.
What the Hales. Hey guys, how you doing?
Love to see you guys in there. I hope you're all doing well.
Yeah.
You guys are always in my prayers and thoughts. I miss all of my friends so much, and I can't wait to see you all again, hopefully soon.
Yep. And I would like to extend, we've been praying for the Hales a little extra as they're going through these court cases, and it's got to be pretty demanding on them. And there's a lot, going on with that. So prayers out to them
and prayers to George and her health. Yeah. As I've always said, prayers in numbers just works serious miracles. And I just ask you all to keep her in your prayers and her health. Good things are happening in the background always. God is working. If you really pay attention, you'll see him all around us working. So praying absolutely works. I know personally I've had a few prayers answered this week myself. And it's just an amazing feeling when you see these things happening. Not everything that is going on that's bad at the moment is always completely bad. Just remember, God has a plan. Everything is in his timing, and everything will end up good. Anything, even if it appears to be bad, it will be for God's glory. It will come out on the right side of things. Just keep praying. I know I pray when we have our small group. We have a class we go to in the church, and we'll pray with a group. Prayers in numbers with other people when you're by yourself.
It speaks louder.
Either way, do it every way. I do it every way. By myself in the small groups with me and Brett. It does so many things. And when other people are healed and when you serve other people, it does something for you too. It'll heal things in you that you didn't even know were a problem.
And you'll feel it. You can feel it. Like today, twice I felt something. Now, when I go to church, I don't always feel something. It doesn't always grab me emotionally. But today, twice I was moved. There was a moment in the church, and then there was a moment on our walk listening to the other church. So I was touched twice today. So that's a blessing.
It really is. And there's just so many things that can come from it in your connection with God. And none of us are perfect. Every day we make mistakes. The world is full of a group of imperfect people, and we're all thrown in here together. And sometimes we clash, and we clash bad, and we take stuff out on the people that are closest to us. And this world's so disposable. And sometimes it's hard to really get in there and fight and communicate but you have to hang in there. You have to communicate. Sometimes you do need to step away from different situations. I've had that with family before where you're just too close and people need to go apart from each other.
Kind of a reset button.
Yeah, you hit a reset button. You spend more time with God. You talk to him a lot. I've had to do that, as I said, with different family members throughout the years. And we love each other. We're still very close. but sometimes the people you're closest to, you need a break from, because you guys get angsty with each other. And me and Brett have that problem. Everybody has that problem.
We're in a small space.
It's not specific to anybody on the planet. We all go through this.
But now I can e-bike away from you.
But learning to communicate with people in a proper way is good. Learning how to handle the different stressors in your life. And sometimes you just got to get in there and dig deep and get close to God. There's something that happens when you go to church versus listening online. When you're in that room with all the spirit around you, there's something magical that happens there that doesn't happen in other settings. And you just got to get yourself there. Sometimes I know when I'm depressed, I don't want to be around anybody. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for me to push everybody away and isolate myself. But I can tell you that's exactly what the devil wants. He wants you isolated, mm-hmm. and it's no good. So if you have to take a day away from people, make sure you're there with God. So you're never alone. He's there. Spend some time with him. And then the next day, get out there, push yourself, and get in front of people and get around people, positive people.
Yeah.
So it makes a huge difference.
Hit that reset button, and then you can get back in the trenches.
Yeah, we all have to hit that at times. Like I said, it's a crazy world and a crazy life. And I just pray for everybody who has to deal with different stressors, that God can come in and relieve some situations to give them strength to continue to endure the situations, and, maybe step outside of the situation and relook at it and evaluate it differently. There's lots of things, but always just support people and understand what they're going through, and don't be too quick to make judgments.
Yeah.
So I know I get on a rant, but I get very emotional. Yeah. And I know a lot of times when people around me who I'm very close to are hurting or having health issues, financial problems, or any kind of issues, when they're hurting, I actually hurt. Like, mm-hmm. It bothers me a lot.
And if you care, you should feel it.
And I'll get, and I don't know why it is, but I'll get to the point where I will feel drained sometimes over somebody else's pain. And I love that person that much and care for them. They're a brother or sister in Christ, and they're family to me. And I feel that close that their discomfort and pain mm-hmm. really affects me. And I pray big time for them.
And it doesn't have to be any one individual. It can also be a group of people, or like the town. There were some things in the town hall that you wanted so badly because you knew it would be the betterment for the town, and you would get personally involved. And
and I wanted to be a voice for so many people, and it was frustrating, and it was very draining. But sometimes you have to put yourself in some very uncomfortable situations, because that's where you're going to find your growth.
Yeah.
It's not like I wanted, you don't wake up and say, oh, I want to be in the middle of this horrendous town hall meeting where everybody's just, you don't want for that, but you want for the change that you could make there. So you have to put yourself sometimes in these situations that are uncomfortable, because I do care about people and I want better for them. And some people don't have a voice, or they don't know how to use their voice yet. And sometimes you just have to help them and give them that little bit leg up.
How nice would it have been to have had Carl and Zim on the board and not Don and Russell? Like, how much you would have gotten done.
Yeah, that would
we could have gotten some ordinances written.
Completely amazing.
Because the charter is very vague on most things. So whoever's mayor can manipulate them or slant them or put them in a certain way. So a lot of that needs to be cleared up. So new ordinances need to be written to clarify the existing charter.
Yeah, there's so many things
that doesn't going to get done. It's going to go back.
That need to happen there. And I did what I could for the time I was there, mm-hmm. but I do feel so blessed to not be there anymore. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of stress that comes with living in Otter Creek. And only the true people that live in Otter Creek know that. And it's very hard on relationships. It's very hard on your mental health, your well-being.
It's hard when 75% of the town just really doesn't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
And when I first got there, I remember I'm like, this is such a cute little town. I've always wanted to live in a town. This is going to be so great. And I was so excited. I was planting flowers in front of town hall. We were volunteering, cleaning up the town. And I was just so stoked. And then none of that was the way it was. And it was depressing and it was sad. And it seemed like almost like you're banging your head on a wall. You're trapped there. You can't get out. And then when you're living with the person, we have a business together, we're trying to grow this business, and you have all this evil just coming in different directions. And I said to Brett, I don't know how long ago I even told him this, but I feel like if we would have stayed in Otter Creek, that our marriage would not have lasted. I feel like the stress that place created is hard enough to deal in itself, let alone other things in life, like trying to build a business or just running a relationship. There's stresses with everything, money, this and that. But then when you have all these huge outside sources coming in, it's horrible. And I don't feel like our marriage could have made it through living for an extended amount of time in Otter Creek. So I do feel like it was a huge blessing to get out of there on so many different levels.
And it was never my intention to sell the park and leave. That wasn't what drove it.
Absolutely wasn't.
That's not what drove it. I wanted to stay.
And he certainly wanted to stay there more than I did.
Yes, because I thought she could be mayor for as long as she wanted. Enough people liked her that I think she could have just kept winning that seat. But it wasn't about that.
And I've learned hard lessons in life about how long you should stay in a situation and how much of yourself and your mental health you're willing to give up to a situation. And I'm very stubborn, and I've learned the hard way. And my biggest example of this was when I worked at the post office and went into being a supervisor. And I ended up having to quit that position because of what it was doing to my mental health, the things you had to do for your morals. It was so much wrong, and it felt like so much evil in there. And when I quit as a supervisor, that was like unheard of. Nobody does that.
Yeah, nobody quits.
But my mental health is more important than all these other things. And I've worked hard my whole life. And getting myself to that point and everything I had earned wasn't worth it for me to keep hanging in because, I hate to quit and I wanted to stick it out. But sticking it out meant that these other people that were in management were getting the better of my mental health. And sometimes you don't want to quit different things because, the fear of the perceived failure of you being a quitter in those, that other party has now won. When I look at it, that if I stay there and be miserable, that's the only way that other party won. Right. So sometimes I used to look at Otter Creek too, thinking, well, if we sell the park and we move out of here, it means that all these evil people won. And then I sit back and I'm like, no. If I stay here and I'm miserable with all of them, they won.
Right.
I'm there with them. Misery loves company.
It's all about perception.
So there's many different perceptions. So I didn't see the big issue when I was at the post office in quitting as a supervisor. And if other people wanted to form opinions of me and call me a quitter and those other things, I don't pay attention to those people. I pay attention to God and his opinion of me. And I pay attention to my mental health, because if my mental health is bad, I'm no good to anybody around me. And for me here on this planet, I want to be a light. I want to show people God's love. I fail sometimes. I'm not perfect, but that's what I want to do. I want to have it in my words. I want to have it in my actions. So if my mental health is compromised and now I can't do what I'm here to do, I'm a failure to God. So I have to cut off this toxic thing over here. And I don't care how I'm labeled by the people, in the post office who may label me a failure, or the people in Otter Creek who may label me a failure. And look, they're packing up and running out of here. I know there was lots of comments about that. I don't look at it all that way. I say, thank God I am out of there. My mental health is most important. And I feel so refreshed and amazed every day. And I'm sorry I took you guys on this huge rabbit hole, but I was just on
that wasn't in our notes.
It's not in my notes at all. And I feel that God has put that on my heart to share with you about different things we're going through in life and how we can be a light to others, and how you really have to take note of your mental health and watch how you gauge things, because sometimes you stay in a situation for too long for other people and a misconception of how they perceive you, and they're not what's important.
You're given, and we were at odds with this ideology back at the campground.
A lot.
I really didn't want to leave. I wanted to work it out. The campground was just starting to make some money. It was starting to, head in the right direction, because we expanded it from 13 sites to 24 sites. And if you do the math on, the rent, and it stayed pretty full, and the Facebook page, or the website that we had, was starting to click pretty good, and there were just a couple of tweaks, and it was starting to get to where it was almost hands off.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, and it was getting to be at a beautiful point.
Here's the only distractor with the campground that I didn't like, is that we never had time off. We would have liked to have gone to Alaska and come back and keep the campground, but there was no one that we could really, who had the time, who was available to do it and was willing to do it, that we could even trust to run the campground.
Yeah, if we could have found a manager, we would have kept Shady Oaks for sure, but we couldn't. And life is too short, and I've worked too hard, and I wanted to travel.
Me. You got to look at your lifespan. I'm 58, so I'm at 58. As we go across the screen, here's youth, here's getting older, and here's dead, right? So we're like right just past halfway. We're probably like right in here. So what do you want to do with this space right here that's left? There's not much space left. Most of it's behind you. So what do you want to do with this? Do you want to travel, or do you want to keep trying to work on Otter Creek, where 75% of the people just don't care and are never going to care?
Right.
So at some point you could do like, what? We built a campground. The town wasn't even part of the plan. It was just a campground. None of the money comes from the town for the campground. The campground all comes from outside people. So the campground did what it was supposed to do, and life there wasn't going to get better. The campground got better, but life for us and happiness, being able to travel and see the world and go places,
wasn't going to happen.
It wasn't going to happen there. It wasn't going to happen. And so I was pretty easily convinced after a few days of thinking about it. And
because honestly, if we were going to stay and he wanted to keep with that plan, he was going to be there by himself, because I wasn't staying.
I said, okay, well, let's reach out. Let's see what the campground can bring. Can we get some of our investment back? And so we had a number in our head that what we needed from the campground we thought was fair. And that fair number also, with my military retirement, could we travel and not have to get a job, a 9-to-5? And the answer was yes.
As long as you don't get ridiculous in your expenses, there's a lot of things you can work out doing.
We do live on a pretty tight budget.
You get one life, and you don't know when that's going to end. It could, you have no idea.
Yeah.
So if you're not living your best life now,
you may not get a chance to live your best life.
You can make all the money in the world. You can't take it with you.
The guy that we bought the RV from, he was probably a good 20 years older than us. Him and his wife had planned to travel in that RV, and they couldn't. They went on a trip, but then his wife took ill, and she was immobile and couldn't move. So he even got a different, the same RV, but traded it in on a different model to the one we have. I think they had bunk beds and they moved it to this one. Well, anyway, so they traded in and got this model, the one we have, and that didn't work for them either. And so he ended up selling it. And that's why he sold it, is because they waited too late to start their adventures.
Yeah, and they were a wonderful couple. I was so
Very nice
blessed
guy.
that we got to meet them as well. I remember when we went to purchase the RV, we spent some time. They invited us. They were very wealthy, and they had a lovely penthouse condo.
Yeah, they lived in a
water.
penthouse condo up on the top floor
And we
on
spent
Merritt Island.
some
So
hours.
very expensive area.
We spent a few hours with them, talking to them, and it was really important for him, to who he sold the RV to, that he had a certain feeling about them, just like I talked about the certain feeling we had about Rex and Janelle buying Shady Oaks. It was very similar to that.
It felt like the right.
He said he wouldn't have sold the RV to anybody that he didn't feel a connection with, because the RV meant something to him. It meant the traveling with his wife. He had that vision for him. So he grew a bond with the RV. It held a special place in his heart, even though it's just an item, a materialistic item.
And this is
it was an envision of a retirement for him and his wife.
And this is what he did for us. I was like, our closing got pushed back. It was supposed to be in December. It got pushed back to January that year. And so we didn't have all the money to pay for it. So we had more than half of it. So he goes, don't worry about that. Just come on out, take a look at it. We'll sit down and then we'll have a conversation. He let us put money down, and we wrote out a promissory note. He let us use his plates to drive it home. Still didn't finish paying for all of it. When we closed, now we just parked it. We didn't start camping with it. We just drove it home, parked it, and we took his plates, mailed it back to him, because we appreciate that. And then we left it untagged until which time we closed on the park. And then we had money, and when we sent to him, we already had the title. He signed it and everything. He basically had given us the RV at that point. Then we sent the rest of the money to him, mailed it to him. He got it. So everything worked out. But see, he trusted us. He trusted us with probably, about $70,000 he trusted us with, that we had to mail back to him once we closed on the park. So those are great people. And we like dealing with great people. There's something the Hales say that will always stick with me. He repeats it, and it always goes in my head. And this relates too. He says, if you want to hang around, if you're friends, if you want to be like them and you want to hang around with them, and they're a bunch of meth addicts, then that's what you're going to be. You're going to be a meth addict. But if you want to be a millionaire and you aspire to be more, more in life, you want more out of life. I'm not saying being a millionaire is the only measure of success. I'm using it as an example. But if you want to be a millionaire, let's say that's your goal, then you need to hang around with 4 other millionaires. That's the only way you're going to get better.
Yes.
If you want to get, let's say,
birds of a feather.
If you want to, let's say golf is your thing and you want to get better at golf, then you need to play with people better than you.
Right.
I used to play racquetball. Some people I played with, they weren't very good. And
Thank you, Jessica.
I beat them, and that's fun, but that's not very rewarding. When you beat people that are better than you, that's rewarding. Even though it may not happen often, you have to fight for it. You have to work for it. The only way you can better your game, and that's the game of life, is to be around people who are better than you, to bring you up.
Now,
good
of
people,
course,
good people.
That doesn't mean that you dodge people that are lower than you. It just means, and I don't know if lower is the right word, but it just means you don't get too close. Because from my own personal experience, I've always tried to help so many people. And I can tell you sometimes when I've had people that were my friends and they went down a wrong path. So they went down a wrong path.
Thank you, Alex, for the 7. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. And were doing drugs or doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. And I tried to help them, and I got in too close. It's like they will start to bring you down.
You've had some of this in your family. You
don't bring them up. They start bringing you down if you get too close. But I always feel so bad. And I feel like everybody can be saved. and I would get too close to people that had way too much going on with mental health and this and that, and they use you.
Yeah, I've done the same
dry.
thing. I've tried to help people. You extend a hand, and
you do have to be very careful on what help you're giving and how close you get, because it's just they drag you down. You don't bring them up. So it's great to help people. I'm not saying don't help people. Just, look at the boundaries and look at the way you're helping them and make sure you're giving them a hand up.
A hand up, not a hand out.
I've learned some very expensive and hurtful lessons throughout my life, but I always want to make sure that my heart stays soft. And sometimes it's hard when you get used and abused. And so you want to shut everybody out, but you can't do that. You just can't do that. You got to have a soft heart. You have more wisdom, and you use that wisdom in the future and how you're going about things.
Okay. Are you ready to jump to a happier subject?
All these big life lessons here.
We're trying to stay on a schedule so we don't run over time.
Ooh, and of course, everybody knows daylight savings time. We
turned our
clocks,
talked about that.
And I'm like, I don't feel like I got that extra hour of sleep last night. What happened? But so now we're through that. And unfortunately, it's going to get dark earlier.
But it gets light earlier.
So
also,
it's a little adjustment until the next 6 months rolls up and demands some daylight.
So we got a couple of things to talk about. We have some DIYs that we've been working on this week. The bathroom.
Yay, finally the bathroom.
Finally got the bathroom.
Wallpaper.
The wallpaper, the mural, I guess we'll say. The colorful waterfall with trees on the wall. We still got some trim work to do in there. We have been videoing that, so we'll get that out to you.
Yeah, this week.
As soon as that project is done.
We still have some trim and some paint to hang up. The total completion of the bathroom, I still want to put in a vanity and put some wood trim around the mirror, but that's going to be like way down the road next year sometime.
Yeah, we're doing this in small steps.
But I'm like, just from hanging that wallpaper in there, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. I'm like so stoked to get some wallpaper for the bedroom now. But I can't wait to share the video with y'all. It was so much fun. We've never done it before, so it was a real hoot. And then Brett did a few other things off camera.
This wasn't on camera because I just thought it was pretty dry. We have an auxiliary fan on the Jeep that we can push a switch and it'll bring more air through the Jeep, through the radiator. It's a push-pull fan that you can attach to the front of the radiator. It's good for when you're delivering packages and your Jeep gets warm because it's the start and stop of things. But that fan works on a switch, so I can add more air and cool it down. Well, that fan wasn't working. So after looking at it, I thought it was a bad fan. I ordered a fan. It wasn't much, $17 or something. And then I went back. I had the grill off the Jeep twice and found out it was a bad ground. So it took a little bit to fix that ground. That ground was giving me some squirrely readings on the probe there. So I didn't know whether it was this end of the wire, that end of the wire. Anyway, I ended up keeping the same fan and rewiring the ground, and it's working fine. And I got the other fan. I'm just going to keep it because those fans don't last forever. They're not very expensive, but I want to be able to just grab it right off the shelf and throw it on there. So that was my one DIY for the Jeep.
You also installed a dash cam on the Jeep.
A dash cam, but most of that was running the wire from the rear camera and trying to figure out how to run the wire. So that would have been boring to film.
And then you did the foam insulation squares.
Oh yeah, that was on the house. So we put a dash cam in the Jeep. We think we've been wanting to do that for a while. So if you're involved in an accident, you can go to the video and there you go. Convince a judge of what really happened. Hopefully a good judge.
These days, no matter where you are, video footage is
important, right? Accountability.
As we have learned.
Yeah.
You got to have that camera. And there's just some crazy stuff when you're driving on the roadways. I know during our travels, we see a lot of stuff and we're like, oh my gosh, I wish we had a dash cam.
I know.
Now we need to get one for the RV, I guess.
Sometimes you see dash cam videos on YouTube and cars crashing in front of them and stuff. They're not involved, but You're like, whoa, that was crazy.
Sometimes you see these near misses where God had a hand in it, because you'll see this car like fly right next to somebody.
It's like, how did he miss that?
Wow. You're like, God was looking
sometimes
out.
they don't miss. Sometimes they do hit. But
so now you want to talk about how we almost got robbed this week?
Yeah, how we almost got robbed. Let me tell you. Oh my goodness.
I thought he was going to lose his cool.
Yeah, I still was kind of sarcastic to that guy. He didn't take it.
Snarky.
He didn't take it very well. So we're looking at getting some windows to replace in the cabin. There are 10 windows we want to have replaced. They're all double hung, standard 3x5 windows, except 2 of them, and 2 of them are smaller windows. So nothing magical here, no specialty windows, no extra. So we had a couple of people come out and give us an estimate.
And it's a whole dog and pony show when you call out people for windows, which I never knew. It's like they've got this big presentation.
Heat lamps, you've probably seen them where they do the heat lamp and they put the different vanes in front of the heat and you feel it on the other side.
Get ready for 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. And we're like, we got physical therapy appointment. We got so much going on, and they want to come in with this big dog. And I'm like, so I just want to know the bottom line.
So after about 20 or 30 minutes of talking to the guy, I'm the only one now engaged in this conversation, and she's on the side editing. Like, I ain't got time.
I didn't. I'll sit here and listen, but I've got work to do.
Right. So we had West Shore Homes come out here. I know you've seen their tub inserts on TV. That's the way I knew them. I didn't know they did windows.
I didn't either.
I didn't know it was the same company. But anyway, they came out, do their presentation. And his first quote, now this is 10 windows, 3x5, not very big, double hung, normal windows, $19,000. When he came up with that money, I laughed. And he goes, why? Did I say something funny? I was like, 19 grand. You do know these aren't cars, right? They're windows. And he got mad. He got upset. He goes, well, I guess I need to leave before you insult me again. I was like, that wasn't an insult to you. It was an insult to that quote. Quote something nicer. Quote something better, more realistic. And I just
couldn't believe that windows would be that expensive. Then they were even telling us the price of doors, with some door prices that range from $3,000 to $20,000 for a door. One door. It must be the doorway to heaven.
The door to gold, I guess. Way to gold. I had no idea that these things cost that much.
I had no clue either. And I think by the time that was the second presentation, because the first one was Pinnacle. And
now that guy was super nice.
He was nice. I really liked that guy. And we got his number. So he's probably someone we're going to keep in touch with anyway, because he was really cool. And even though he had a presentation and was here forever, he was just fun to talk to. And we had good conversation with him. However, we didn't go with him. But by the time the next person comes, it's like, my goodness, we don't have all this time. These prices are outrageous.
Yeah, he was more of a car salesman than anything. And it was starting to irritate me right off the jump.
And he is not very good when he's irritated in
so Pinnacle's
being
price,
very nice.
He was the first one to come out. He was around, I think he started at 14,000 and came down to 11. Okay, so he's in the ballpark, but my number in my head is 10.9 is where I'm at after doing a little research, and that's still a lot. I mean, it's just expensive.
Well, I think the thing too, when you were talking with the West Shore guy, you said something about that you were going to film him and make a video of the work crew when they come to do the windows, because the Pinnacle guy, he's like, listen, when my guys come, absolutely you need to record them, because it's so amazing to see the job they do and how fast they do it, blah, blah, blah.
And I'm sure they are.
And, I remember when we had the septic done in Shady Oaks, watching them and the way they just ding, ding, ding. It was amazing. I wish we would have recorded it.
They put in a whole septic system in like 2 hours.
Yeah, they were
crazy.
It was awesome to watch. But so the Pinnacle guy was, yes, please record. It was his idea. Yeah. And then when Brett mentions it to the West Shore guy, he's like, oh, no.
You can't do that.
My guys aren't going to like that.
I said, what do you mean? My house, my property. I can video. Yeah.
but if you're not doing anything wrong, what's the
Yeah,
problem?
what's the problem?
Don't you want to highlight your work crew and
Yeah.
show the good
And
job
we'll
that they're
promote
doing?
your business, you know.
So that didn't go over well either,
Yeah.
which, you know, I wouldn't, if I can't record what's going on in my own home, that's not going to happen, first off.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe his attitude towards that.
So what they make you believe, here's the gimmick. It's not that the infrared or the heat lamp test is a gimmick. It's real.
Mark says, order them and then call Travis. LOL.
Yeah.
Come on, Travis, we need you.
I talked to my cousin and her husband, and he's not, he's handy, but he's not like
it's not his field.
Yeah, it's not. He's not a technician, and he's older than I, so he's got that challenge too. But they input their own windows.
Yeah,
and so we
saved
looked at
a ton of money.
Yeah,
we thought about it. We looked
considered
at it.
Yeah,
and I thought we were going to do it.
Mm-hmm. The problem is the time to do it. It really takes a lot of time.
It does, and one thing we don't have right now is any time.
Is time. Yeah, time is a very precious commodity. We're very busy. Not like what the hell's busy, but busy. Okay, busier than we want to be. So
busier than we thought we would be being retired.
So I wouldn't mind paying about $5,000 for them to do it. So that's about what you're doing. So who was our last quote? Was Lowe's. We went to Lowe's and they were offering a special. They had 15% off the windows and 15% off the labor if you did it before a certain day. And we did. We locked it in. So it was right around $9,000. But $4,000 is the windows. So you're paying about $5,000 for the labor, but you're also getting the lifetime warranty on the glass that you get that if you do it yourself, but you don't get any warranty on the install. Let's say it leaks or later it leaks and you start damaging wood because of rain and whatnot. I don't know enough about that. I have a very general knowledge of that. I'd be YouTubing that, looking that up. And
I also think with your frozen shoulder issue, installing windows probably wouldn't be a good idea.
So I decided to just bite the bullet on this one. Don't go cheap. Just get good quality. Now here's what West Shore Homes and the Pinnacle and them, I don't remember Pinnacle exactly, but like they're making you think. Now they don't say it, but they're making you think they're the only ones that can get this quality window. Not true. They say that Lowe's and Home Depot only provide the construction grade glass. Not true. That's all they sell in the store. But you can order.
And that the big manufacturers only produce the windows for them.
For them. Not true.
It's not true.
Not true. You can get, and they sell, if I'm saying this, Pella windows. Everybody knows they're a very popular window. They're kind of expensive. They're very well made. But you can get Pella windows through Lowe's. And then Lowe's also has what's it called? Something built. It's very similar to the Pella window, but it's the Lowe's brand of window, and they're made side by side. It just has Pella makes them for Lowe's under a different name. And a lot of the laundry companies do this too. Speed Queens and Maytags and all this. It's the same manufacturer, and they put a different label on it at the end, and they sell it as a different product.
It's a special model with a special name specifically for that company.
Right.
But
they don't tell you that.
That's the only difference, is that they made a special one for that company with that name. It's still the same window.
It's the same window
over here, but it's on the same line and all that stuff. It just has a different name.
Right. And what it is it's a higher markup for them. So we did go with Lowe's. They still have to come out. They come out tomorrow, and when they come out, they do a little presentation. Lowe's didn't do a presentation. We didn't need a presentation. He just answered our questions about windows and gave us pricing.
Jake from Lowe's, he said he is not from State Farm.
Yeah, I said, Jake from State Farm. He goes, no, Jake from Lowe's. Right.
He was pretty funny, but he knew his stuff. He didn't come out trying to sell anything. Nope. He was straight to the point. Let's go. Let's do this.
He's like, how many windows you looking to replace? I said, 10. He goes, what kind you want? I said, double hung. He goes, okay, are these them? I'm like, yep, right here. And so he just started getting some rough measurements so he could do a quote. And then he'll send his team out tomorrow. They'll come out and do an exact measurements. So they have to order the windows. It'll take about 6 weeks to get them, 4 to 6 weeks. But with the holidays coming up, might be closer to 6 weeks. I said, that's fine. We're not in any hurry. So we decided to do that. Also, so I said 15% off the labor and 15% off the product. So the 15% will trump the military discount. You don't get both. There's also, if we use
double dipping.
If we use the Pro card, which we have one, then if we use the Pro card, it's another 5%. And they've been taking 5% off the whole bill. So that's windows and labor. So that would be great. So we're getting all kinds of discounts that we didn't get with the other companies.
So the total price
was about $9,000. And
I think it's like 10.
It's 9 something.
9 something.
Yeah.
I just round up, right?
So that's
he'll round down.
That's out the door. That's full warranty, lifetime on the glass. And that's them taking all the old ones out.
And this is something we knew was going to have to be done when we bought the cabin. We just didn't know how soon because we didn't know that none of the windows open.
They don't.
There's only one window in this house that opens, and they didn't say that during the inspection. So it's a little bit sooner that it needs to be done because I like to open my windows.
We like to open windows.
So it's an expense. We knew it was coming. We just didn't know how soon it was going to be. And sometimes you just gotta do it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. So
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm getting you some windows, baby.
Yeah, I'm getting you some windows too. Are you getting 5 or 4? Because there's 9 windows. No, it's 10 windows.
10. We're half and half.
Yeah, we're good. So we want to be able to get.
Christmas is done. We don't even have to shop. Sweet.
Yeah, we're done. Merry Christmas. Next year too. Merry Christmas.
Oh man.
But I think it'll help. They say 68% of the cost of your windows is you get back when you go to resell.
Yes, it includes screens also.
Yes, and none of these windows have screens.
They don't have screens either. So even if they did open and the one that does open, there's no screens. Right. And we've been like opening the 2 doors.
That's all we can do is open the doors.
But then you end up getting bugs in here.
You do. We got flies in here.
And then I hope that groundhog don't come in here because
sometimes there's a bird that gets on the courts. If that bird got in here, I'd freak out. I don't know how we would get him out. Like
that would be a funny video.
With these high ceilings and you
Brett freaking out
and you can't get to them. Oh no, I don't like birds.
Yeah, because I
don't do birds.
The couple of times it's gotten in on the porch, I've got to go shoosh him out, and he's like, ah!
Birds are okay, but they got to stay out of my immediate area. I think they got their area and I got mine, and we don't mix birds. I don't do birds. I don't like birds. So I mean, I don't mind looking at birds.
If they come in this house and he starts freaking out, better believe I'm
That's when I shut that door. I'm like, they get on the porch. I'm shutting that door. They ain't coming in here.
Oh, goodness.
So we can't wait to get some windows in here. And it's been nice and cool. I think today we were warm. It was 73 degrees. It was nice.
Yeah, but it was still gorgeous. There was a beautiful breeze. We went for a hike in the park and we were listening to the sermon while we were hiking. It was gorgeous.
It was.
You have all the fall colors, which I'm so in love with because I've never experienced fall before. So I'm over here all the time when we're driving, taking pictures. And I'm like, look at that one's a shade of yellow.
And let me tell you,
orange and that one's red. And he's looking at me like, yeah. And
the quality of life between Otter Creek and where we live here
is amazing.
Is on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Opposite completely, yes.
Now, I've lived all over the world being military, and I grew up in Virginia. And I can tell you, and I told Tim Hodge this, one of the...
we're going there again?
Yeah, just... that area of Florida was the worst place I have ever lived in my life, bar none, nothing close to it.
Right.
The worst place.
And I tell him that all the time because he'll like take a blanket and put Florida in this blanket. And I've lived in many, many, many places in Florida throughout my life. I was born in Florida, and Otter Creek is the worst place. As a matter of fact, not just Otter Creek, but Levy County is the worst place I've lived in Florida in my life.
Yeah, and I can believe that.
So I always try to tell them, don't make it a blanket. Although, you know, even growing up as a teenager, my biggest thing was to get out of Florida. I love life. I love all the positive changes we're making.
No,
it's like sometimes when you shut a door to some negative, toxic, terrible things, you're just going to see all these beautiful, positive doors just opening up. And you're like, why didn't I shut that door earlier? Why? Why did I take so long?
So what you were saying, I'm sure Russ the Sus is going, we got them out of town. You didn't get us out of town. We would still be there if we didn't sell the campground. And we weren't going to sell the campground until we decide, you know what, how much do we need to make? How much? We can't find anybody. We can't trust anyone to manage it while we're gone. Let's just get in touch with somebody. So I found out that it wasn't a realtor you want to use for a campground. You want to use a broker. So I just went online, Googled selling a campground. And Parks and Places was the first one that popped up. There was a number there. I called them. I think it was a weekend. She answered the phone and she convinced me.
It was all like,
this is pretty much what
fast.
she said. I wasn't expecting anything. And I was just trying to get some information. I didn't even know how much it was going to cost me to sell it. If it would even bring enough money to be able to sell it. What were we going to do? We didn't know.
I was on my knees praying like every day, y'all.
Man, I got off that 30-minute or so phone call going, we're going to sell the campground.
And I'm like, because he's doing it. He's finally doing it.
When I got on the phone, she said two things. I said, you guys sell campgrounds? She goes, that's what we do. That's all we do. 35 years in the business, we sell campgrounds. I'm like, great. She goes, she goes, before you get started, where's your campground out? I said, we're in Florida. Kind of like that. She goes, you have a Florida campground for sale? We have never not sold a campground in 35 years in Florida. We have never not sold one. Never. I'm like, well, that sounds pretty reassuring.
Is that a double negative?
So, yeah, I guess so.
Never not?
Never not. But I was convinced. And the second people that looked at it, they passed on it at first, but they came back to it. So there was some negotiating going on. But they ended up buying it. And I think only 4 people came to look at it. And it took a couple months to lock it down. But I think
it was a process and there was so much work. And I kept saying, God, if this all works out and you get me through this is like a miracle in my eyes happening. Like it's just night and day, and the relief, and it's just been amazing. And I have to tell you too, I've been in situations before where I've lost money getting out of something.
Yeah, and I wasn't willing to do that.
And to me, I've been in such a bad situation before that sometimes it's actually worth the loss of money just to get out of it and have your health restored and be on the positive side of things. And it's worth a lot. Mm-hmm. So I know there's a lot of people that hang on to bad situations because they think of this loss of money or the loss of whatever. And no, it won't keep me there, because there's no amount of money to me that's worth staying miserable or being in bad mental health. To me, it's a win to get out of it and get away from that. And if all those people that are stuck in that place of miserableness think that they won, they still there. I'm not. Who's the winner? Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, who's the winner? We're living our best life. And Jeremy said that in the chat, and I want to go back to that, because every time I talk to him on the phone, which hasn't been, we had a conversation recently, but we don't talk regular. We don't talk every day. It's maybe not even once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, I'd say. But because he's a super busy guy, we're also busy, but we keep tabs, and we don't talk about everything. It's just basically, how you doing, how things going. And that's, we just keep in touch. And he said he never forgets to say somewhere in the conversation, and it doesn't even, we could be talking about lamps. And he'll just come out of left field with this, and he'll be like, you know what? The best thing you ever did was leave Otter Creek. And I'm not always sold on that. I'm like, well, if I had stayed, I could have made this.
I'm 100% sold on that.
And I do. I think that, and then I come back, and he puts me back.
Money is not everything.
It's not everything. And I respect Jeremy on a couple of things. I consider him a good counselor. I think he's a good counselor. And so sometimes I'll talk to him just, as a friend, and, let me bounce this off of you. What do you think? And he has answers. He has quick answers. Now, I trust his judgment. And why? Because he's I know quite a bit about his past, and the decisions that he's made along the way and why he's made them. Now they don't always work out. He's not perfect, but I trust his judgment.
Sometimes you need something from somebody else's viewpoint
Yeah,
because you don't see it because you're too far in it all.
See, I would go to Jeremy in these areas. I think he's a good businessman. He's obviously a good businessman, right? So I
Right.
trust his judgment in terms of business ideas.
Mhm.
I feel pretty good about business too. I mean, I feel pretty good, but I think he's a little extra
Oh, for sure.
for business. I have a business degree, a bachelor's degree in business, but for applicable, for being able to apply the principles, I think he's a good mentor. I think he's good. He's knowledgeable.
He's good people.
If you got questions about the Bible, he's a go-to guy. That's his bread and butter. He has studied that. I have not.
I'm blessed. I'm completely blessed to call him and George my friends. Like,
now you can think
very blessed
and hear and think otherwise, but we know for a fact. We know firsthand. We don't need to be told by anybody. We make our own decisions on who we let in our circle and who's not in our circle, and he's definitely in our circle. He's a good guy.
We keep our circles small too because we've learned a lot of valuable lessons, and people can be ugly, and you trust people and you want to love on people, but people are very fickle and they get mad at you and they play games. So you can't just go letting everybody in so close to you because too many people play too many games.
But if
I don't understand what they get out of it. That's not how I live my life or what I do, but that's why we keep our circle small.
But if there was anybody on this planet that I would trust my life to, it would be you and Jeremy and George, either one of them.
Completely.
So completely. And I don't know that there's anybody else I could say that about, to be honest.
We've met,
I'd have to think.
They're
even in my family, I
some
can't say
brothers and sister in Christ. To me, they're part of my Christ family, forever.
Yeah, even in my immediate family, I can't say that, to be honest. Immediate family.
So it's good to have people in your life that you can trust and you can bounce things off of. And sometimes people will tell you things about yourself that you particularly don't want to hear, but they're your friends. They love you and they tell you things out of love because they care about you.
Oh, he's told me things just like, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what
friends do for each other, because you love each other that much that you can be truthful and honest with them.
If you lie to me and then I take that and I go run with it, and then that's bad advice, and then I end up paying for it, and then I blame him,
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
Be real.
Tell me the truth. I don't have to like it. I'll digest it, and then I'll probably come back
sometimes
around.
When somebody tells you something about yourself, it stings a little at first, and you're like,
But if you think about it from their perspective,
step back and think about it, and you're like, you know what?
Maybe I was little this, or maybe I was a little that, Because sometimes I can come off as this arrogant, cocky guy.
Sometimes you have to get real with yourself. Sometimes, like I said, none of us are perfect, and we've all said or done imperfect things all the time. So you can step back sometimes and be like, oh, that wasn't my best self. Like
Jeremy and I have this in common, and then I'll get off of this. But we both can come across as being sometimes arrogant, and that probably comes off of we know that we've been successful to this point in our life. Like, I've had a lot of achievements too that I'm very blessed with. He's had a lot of achievements he's blessed with. And this can kind of get you, for lack of a better term, maybe some people see it as arrogance. I see it as confidence. I like, he has a successful YouTube business. So I would look at him and go, man, buying storage units and reselling them and filming all that and then having an auction. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. More people should do that. It's not for us. It's too time consuming, and we're not.
I love it though, because I love treasure hunting.
Yeah, I think I would enjoy it.
When I was growing up, going to the thrift stores and going to yard sales, like that was what we did. We had to do that if we wanted school clothes or this and that. So we were always in those places. So I love it.
The problem with doing that is that you have to get we're not set up for that. We'd have to have a truck, a trailer. I mean, I'm not going to go buy all these things for that.
So we'll just watch him do it.
Yeah, we'll just watch him do it.
He's way better
And
at
plus,
it anyway.
we would get away from the adventures. We want to travel. So we geared our channel towards the adventures, towards travel, which we will get to that. But now, travel channels, and you can look at any travel channel, you might find one or two highly successful ones where they have 1 million subscribers. You're typically not going to get that on a travel channel. And we understand that. We're willing to, if it documents our life and we're having fun with it, and it gets us a little bit of gas money, and we're also, it's an LLC, so we're able to write off a lot of our travel expenses, our campground expenses, our fuel expenses can all go to the business. That's a win-win for us. We don't need to make a lot of money on YouTube. We don't even count that income as income because you can't rely on it. It can be 1,000 one month, it can be 6,000 one, you just don't know. So we don't rely on it. And so it's more fun to do the channel when you don't have to produce this, So that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, that's my little soapbox.
I don't know where you went from over here to way
over there.
Here. I didn't know. I'm just watching like
a butterfly.
Where are you going?
Flying around. I'm talking with the pens. I tend to do that too much too.
So
what are we doing this week?
So yeah, what are we doing this week? This week, now I'm finally going to go get my filling because they canceled my appointment for the second time and rescheduled it. So hopefully this week I will be going to get my filling on Wednesday. And although I hate going to the dentist and getting fillings, I want to get this over with before it turns into I need a root canal, which I'm hoping, because he said it's very close. So I'm hoping, since they've put it off for so long, that when I get there, it doesn't end up being a root canal. So that's my fun for this week for me. And of course, we'll be going to the gym.
Yeah.
And I just love our new journey of eating better. I feel so much better. And I'm just learning every day to make better food choices. And again, food prep is so key.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll share with you this new spice that I have discovered this week. And I love this stuff. It's so amazing.
What is that?
It's delicious. It's not spicy, but it adds such a nice flavor. I've been sprinkling it on almost everything except for like breakfast stuff. It's not going to be good on breakfast stuff, but it's got like a lime flavor in it, and it's got some chili peppers, but it's not spicy at all. It's just delish. I love it.
All right.
Absolutely love it.
I finished the physical therapy. There was some improvement. The physical therapist thought I had improved a lot, but the doctor, he wanted me to do a full circle with my arm, and I couldn't quite do a full circle. He says, you're bringing your arm down by the side. You're cheating. You're trying to convince me your shoulder doesn't hurt. I was like, no, there's still some limitation. So he thought it did less than what he would have liked to see. So he has ordered an MRI. So I'll be getting that this week. And that'll tell us for sure if it's
a tear
or if it's just a frozen shoulder.
Yeah. So that'll be this week. I'm glad we were able to get in there so fast because what else are we doing this week?
Well, we already talked about the voting, but we're going to be packing the RV and packing the Jeep because we are going on an adventure.
What? I'm so excited.
So where are we going?
We're going on an adventure. We are going to Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia. You're in our scope.
Road trip.
Now, this trip has a dual purpose. I don't mind telling you where we're going to stay because don't stalk us. Contact us and we'll meet you somewhere. But this is on a base, so unless you have base access, you can't get to us anyway. So we're going to be staying at the Hunter Air Force Base for a month or so, we think.
I don't know.
We don't know yet.
We're staying there that long.
We don't know yet. So, but we're going to be there. I have an aunt that passed away, and so we're going to go to her memorial service. So we'll be there before the 9th. So it'll be the end of the week, and we'll be heading over to Hunter. And we should get our other e-bike tomorrow delivered, and so we'll have both of those packed up in the Jeep.
Oh, that's going to be so much fun. I've never been to Savannah before. All we've ever done is drive through there when we were delivering RVs.
I haven't
and
been there either.
boats.
I've driven through there. I think
That's
only
it.
once.
And so I'm so excited to go and spend some time with your cousin as well. And I hope we get to go to church with her.
If you're from the Savannah
That's gonna be
area
fun.
and there's some things that are must see, drop us an email to madammayorsadventures@gmail.com and let us know what they are.
Yeah, what's the cool
'Cause
stuff in Savannah
we
that
haven't
you
looked
would
it up
like to
yet.
see?
Yep.
Because of course we'll make some videos while we're there. And like I said, I don't even know how long we're going to be there because we do have to come back up here for some stuff, and then we're going to have Christmas in the Creek in December, and we get down to Otter Creek.
So we'll
and
have to
visit
come.
people.
We'll have to come back here for the window install because that's not going to happen now. And we'll have to come back probably.
So there'll be some back and forth
for what the MRI, whatever that produces. There might be some attention given to that, but we will make it to Christmas in the Creek. So
yeah, I'm so excited to be able to see everybody, mostly to see everybody. And of course, see all those kids getting the toys. That's going to be fun. But I miss all my peeps.
I wonder if we can get into that. My cousin is down there in Savannah. 2 cousins down there in Savannah. She could even be watching. I don't know. She actually plays for the Savannah Symphony, the clarinet, I believe it is, with the Savannah Symphony.
Oh, and
So
it
she's
sounds
pretty
so
good at that.
beautiful.
She's really good at that.
Oh, I want to go to a concert. I haven't been to one in forever, but I love going to those type of concerts. I know most people my age don't, but I just love hearing all that beautiful music.
Mm-hmm. So I think they did a live concert today. I think it was at 3:00 Eastern time. But anyway, you can go on there and look up Savannah Symphony if you like that kind of stuff and check it out.
What's another thing we've been enjoying this week?
Oh, yes. North Pole Coffee.
The Saint Nickerdoodle.
This stuff is great. Saint Nickerdoodle, I call it Snickerdoodle.
He was calling it that so much he had me calling it. But
so
I love their stuff.
We brought some of this back with us.
From Alaska.
I picked Snickerdoodle. She picked.
It's called Frosty's Delight, and it has caramel, chocolate. But if you go on their website, they have a whole bunch of flavors that sound amazing. I don't even know how you would try. Like they have a peanut butter cup. They have an Arctic blueberry. There's just, I think they have a pumpkin spice. There's so many different ones that they have. And I'm like, man, we should have got more. I love this stuff. It's so awesome.
So outside of Jason, because he's done so much for us already, but if you guys are up there and you have access to this for a good price, get in touch with us because we want to bulk purchase some of this stuff. It's great.
You can find it for cheaper actually in the Walmarts up there. But if you don't live there, you have to buy it from them online.
They do have free shipping, $100 or more in Alaska. They don't ship it out free.
But I love their stuff. So I know I'm going to be online ordering from there.
I want to contact the commissary and see if they ship commissary to commissary some of this. So
it's worth asking, I would guess.
Because that would be free shipping and it would be delivered right here at Arnold Air Force Base and I could go get it. I'm going to guess that this doesn't count, but we'll see.
What else did we get?
Another thing we bought,
which we haven't tried out yet, but I'm sure we will this week, and we're crossing our fingers for good results.
So if you've been watching some of our videos, our microphones have been giving us a problem. They sound like we're in a holler somewhere or in a barrel talking in water. So what we did is I reached out to Travis.
Of the Girl Scouts, yes.
I reached out to Travis Willis and I said, hey, I noticed your microphone works pretty good. Are you still happy with it? Do you like it? And what brand is it? So he told me, and we went out and they had them on sale. I think it was $30 for this set. So we had this shipped.
I think we paid $35 including shipping, which is a great deal. I found them on eBay. A lot of times you can get stuff way cheaper on eBay than what you can find on Amazon. So whenever I'm shopping for something, I do check eBay as well.
Yep. So we haven't even batteried these up yet, but we will.
So hopefully they work well. They got to be better than the other ones. I don't know what happened to the other ones, but they just decided one day they were done and they're not working so great anymore. So
So that's our mail for today. We don't have any.
We didn't have any mail.
No
so
fan mail.
The mailman has been well rested this week.
Yep.
We still love that he parks his Jeep here.
We love Jeeps.
But yeah, I love sharing too. Whenever I find something that's good like this or the coffee, I always like to share with people what they find good. And if you have stuff you want to tell me that's good, send me an email, put it in the comments. I love discovering new things. It's been super great just being on a good journey of eating better and taking care of ourselves.
So if you guys also want to hear that sermon, didn't really sound like a sermon today, but he did tie it in pretty good. Just Google search it. If you don't listen to it live, it becomes private, but it becomes public, I think, Tuesday. So if you go out there and Google search Meadowbrook Church, that's one word, Meadowbrook Church, Ocala, Florida. They have a website, and you want to select this past today Sunday service. It was great. I mean, that's probably one of the best.
There's a couple people that have tried the North Pole coffee and love it.
Oh, it's good coffee.
I am not even kidding. I'm like, I should have just packed up that RV full of it.
And we get the whole beans.
Yep. So you got to grind them.
So you got to grind them.
But you can pick when you're ordering from them. You can pick.
Yeah. We like to grind them because it's fresh. So we grind it in the morning and throw it right in there, and it's right off the tap. It's good. And the spring water running through it.
So it's just been wonderful. I know the big challenge I'm going to have now hitting the road is doing food prep and keeping on good eating while traveling.
That's hard.
So that's going to be a little bit more tricky, but it's how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to feel good? How bad do you want to look good? And that'll dictate whether you do it or not, is how bad you want it. So you got anything else?
No, I think that covers all our notes here.
And again, I want to thank our members. This week, I did release a video from when we were in Alaska to the members. We didn't do a live, and I did release it to all levels of members so everybody could get a chance to see what we put out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's when we went to the Midnight Sun Festival. It was a lot of fun going on that day. Festivals are a lot of fun. It was super bright that day in Alaska. So thank you guys. Thank all our members. Thank you to our subscribers. And thank you all for being here and just having good conversation with us and sharing your ideas with us. We love you all.
We're going to Savannah.
And we're going to Savannah. Can't wait to take you all there with us.
Isn't Savannah known for their majestic houses with the big white columns and all that?
Ooh, I can't
think so.
wait.
I think that's their big claim to fame.
They sound so beautiful.
Now, my cousin, we're going to be staying really close to her, but not with her. But she said virtually it's right across the street. I'm like, oh, wow.
That'll be fun.
We'll be going to her church. I think it's a non-denominational church, too. I don't know which one. But
I'm excited.
She moved from the Macon area over to Savannah. So she wasn't a Baptist church. So I would think that it's pretty close aligned to that. I don't know.
We have stopped at a Buc-ee's before, but next time we see one, maybe we'll stop in one and film it.
Yeah, well, I don't think we ever filmed it.
No, we certainly didn't. But what a place.
Buc-ee's is a destination.
I think Jessica was in a Buc-ee's this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Buc-ee's is amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is certainly a place to just be like, wow.
Yeah. But the only thing that I'm not looking forward to is going through Atlanta. But I think that is the way through to Savannah from here is through Atlanta. So we'll have to pick our time that we want to go through Atlanta.
Yeah, that will be the thing. And, it is a little hard to leave when the weather is so gorgeous here.
Oh, it's beautiful here.
And we just love our log cabin. So it's like you're excited to go, but you're like a little bit,
I don't want to go into the hot and muggy. So
St. Augustine, Jessica. I love St. Augustine.
That's not that far. It's straight down the coast there. So
I want to go back over there. I want to go back over there again and spend some more time in St. Augustine.
Right across the river there in Savannah, I believe it's South Carolina. So there might be some stuff north to check out as well.
We shall see.
I'm excited. There's a couple of bases in South Carolina we could stay at. I like to stay on the bases because you get a better price and you get the security factor.
Oh, barbecue. Yum, yum, yum.
And all bases normally have It's all ran by MWR, which is Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. So they rent stuff. They rent canoes, kayaks, jet skis, campers, climbing equipment if you want to climb mountains. Whatever the area offers, they rent the outdoor stuff for it. So that's nice. You don't have to pack all that stuff.
And we'll still be doing our live.
Yep.
We'll just do it on the road.
Like we did.
Like we did when we were in Alaska and traveling around before. We just bring the tripod stand and make it happen.
Yep, we got a new tripod stand now.
That's not it.
Oh, that's not it.
That's your old one.
That's my old one. It's over there.
But we have a nice new one, and we'll be using it on the road. It's going to be a blast. I don't know where we're going for Thanksgiving. We haven't even talked about that yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, but I don't know. I'm starting to get hungry, and
I know I could eat.
You know what? On Thanksgiving,
I could eat some turkey and cranberry sauce right now.
There's no diets
Pumpkin
on Thanksgiving.
pie. There's nothing I don't like.
You enjoy that day. You enjoy it to the fullest, and then the next day you get right back up on that wagon.
Yeah.
But do not deprive yourself on Thanksgiving of any of that delicious food.
Right.
I will enjoy it fully. But yeah, I guess we got to start thinking about the Thanksgiving soon.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome hanging out with y'all. It's going to be a crazy busy week.
Yep. Now,
and
if you guys want to see what's been in the chat, we've been looking at some of that. It's like, how come the chat disappears as soon as you go offline? You got to wait for it to load.
Yeah.
I think it does load. It is. We do select that the chat is there when we sign off.
The processing.
It takes a little while for the processing. We have pretty fast internet
Watermelon and pineapple.
but it's not super fast.
Interesting.
The download speed is real fast, but the upload speed is only 10 megabytes per second, which is not, it's So it takes a little while for it to upload. But
true story, bro.
True story.
True story, bro.
But hey, we appreciate you guys. We're loving the fall. We're loving Tennessee. We absolutely can't think of one thing about Tennessee that we don't like so far. Everybody's been so welcoming. We love it. Hey, you know what? Hopefully while we're in Georgia, we can Tennessee's coming to Georgia to play. Volunteers and Bulldogs. Let them rumble. I don't like our chances. But hey, somebody's got to win that game. They beat Alabama. They could beat Georgia. They could. Kentucky gave us, some competition. And they gave Georgia competition too.
Better bring your boom chicka pop.
So anybody can have a good game or a bad game. So it'd be neat to get into that game, but I'm sure it's sold out.
Probably. They always want way too much money for that stuff.
So we'll be watching the game probably at her house. And
I'd rather sit at home with some boom chicka pop.
We'll be cheering for the Tennessee home team.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll let you guys go. And we'll be on What the Hells later tonight.
That's right. So thank you. Love you all.
Love you guys.
Be good to each other.
Hey, get a chance to click on that Meadowbrook Church sermon from today. It's funny. You'll laugh all the way through it. I loved it. It was great.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.